Men wearing dresses are no longer running Iran. Israel and the U.S. did over 900 strikes on the Iranian country, killing their supreme leader and basically their whole leadership team underneath. This explanation right here.
The supreme leader of Iran, Ali Khamenei, is officially dead. They killed him. They found his body. Reports came in. Let me tell you why this is big. This is not killing a president. This is not killing a prime minister. This is not killing a king. You're killing the supreme leader of a religion. This is number 2 to God. They killed. And by the way, the last time the supreme leader was alive, I was in Iran. It was June 3rd, 89. When he died, Khomeini, I was in fifth grade at a school called Gulbenkian, and it was chaotic in Iran because their hero died. This guy didn't die. They killed him. By the way, according to reports, 81% of Iranians hate this regime and they want it to be changed. Not 61%, not 51%, not 31%. Nearly 81% want this person to be gone, and he's gone. So what happens next? Trump killed Qasem Soleimani, reputation. Now he kills the supreme leader, combined with a couple different countries. How many people are on IRGC side? How many countries? Maybe a handful? Who's supporting them? Who? You don't think people are sitting there saying, well, about 180 countries are against you. Why? Because how many countries go around the world saying death upon America, death upon America, death upon infidels? Who says that? You don't think the president and his team wanted to negotiate with you guys to say, just say you're never going to have nuclear weapons? No, just for 3 years so you can be out and then we can get another Biden in and we can go out there and do all that stuff. So look, whether you're not happy about this because you're an anti-war person, which I totally get. No one wants war. I lived there as a kid. I saw people dying and no one wants that. It was the most anxiety, panic as a little boy. Nobody should experience that. Till today, certain sounds still get me because I go back to being a boy, and I was in the U.S. Army here. Nobody wants to see this happen, except maybe if your name is John Bolton and Lindsey Graham. But for everybody else who is wanting the world to be a safer place, if this gets quickly like this and everybody else sits around and says, hey guys, they're about to kill you and your kids, and you, who's next? Let's just work with these guys. What do you want to do? Guys, we're done. Surrender. Put the flag. We're done, guys. What do you want to do next? Let's make it work. Let's your people go elect somebody they want as their president, whoever it is. Let's go back to having good diplomacy. Let's stop being the agent of chaos in the Middle East, and let's make it a safer place. So, very interesting day for me because I'll never forget June 3rd, 89. Never. I was 10 years old, about to be 11. So a great day for a lot of people that feel liberated. And none of this would have happened without President Trump. Many presidents have talked a big game. None of them had the brass to make the decision. You got to give him respect. While he's in the heat of moment with everybody saying you shouldn't do it, you shouldn't do this, they planned it out different than the way they did Venezuela, and they got Khamenei. Obviously, let's see what happens next. They could retaliate. But I think we will see fairly quickly what their next move is going to be.
Patrick Bet-David did an excellent explanation. Obviously, being Iranian and being born and was in Iran for a lot of his childhood, this hits home for him. He hits the nail on the head in the aspect of, especially in Islam, and this is what a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people like myself and others that have been in Muslim-run countries with Sharia and has seen what the Quran and Islam does, has a problem with Islam because it isn't just a religion. It is a cult, political movement that spans from 600s, and it is a problem. So the supreme leader is head of everything. I mean, he is, just like Patrick said, he's second to God only. I mean, he's, well, maybe in the Muslim religion, it's, Allah, Muhammad, and then this fool who killed tens of thousands of his own people because he's a tyrant, evil human being. Imagine that. So 900 strikes, 200 jets from Israel alone. We had drones flying over, missiles, aircraft, and took out their whole leadership team, just like that. Again, I know Iranians are very happy. I've seen it. I have mixed feelings. Iranians like this.
خامنه‌ای رو زدن فرزاد خامنه‌ای رو زدن خامنه‌ای رو زدن
To the devil is gone. Raise my flag, that's lying sun. قسم به خونه یاران. قسم به خونه یاران. قسم به خونه یاران. ایستاده این تا پایان. قسم به خونه یاران.
Let's get into it. Israel obviously was pushing us to go into Iran about nuclear issues. The biggest concern for me was the people. Trump administration told Iran not to mess with their people, stop slaughtering them. They're already pulling down statues of the supreme leader, like right here. Talked about being a Marine and deploying to Iraq and Afghanistan. A book that I read, it was basically the formation of after post World War II, about how specifically the UK and also the United States divvied up like parts of India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq. Kuwait doesn't make sense. They basically took Iraq and had the Sunni Shia and the Kurds who hate all, Kurds hate everybody, Sunnis hate everybody, Shia hates everybody, and they did that to keep it unstable. So the United States and Great Britain, it's basically their fault. The way they just divvied up everything to keep chaos and break things up. In Iran, till the 80s, we had the Shah was in there. CIA basically took him out and replaced him. And there was, Muslim extremists or just Muslims. I'm tired of Muslim extremists. It's just the religion. One took over.
To understand what Trump just struck, you need to understand what Iran actually is in the global power structure. And that story begins in 1908. In that year, a British speculator named William Knox D'Arcy struck oil in southwest Persia. He had purchased exclusive extraction rights from the Persian Shah for a pittance, just 16% of profits, and with no Iranian allowed to audit the books. From that single concession, the Anglo-Persian Oil Company was born. It later became the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company. Today, you know it as British Petroleum, BP. Winston Churchill, as First Lord of the Admiralty, called it, quote, a prize from fairyland beyond our wildest dreams. And he meant it. The British government bought a 51% controlling stake in 1914. The Royal Navy ran on Iranian oil. Britain's entire standard of living in the first half of the 20th century was subsidized by wealth extracted from Iran. In 1950, Abadan had become the world's largest refinery. The Anglo-Iranian oil company controlled all oil in Iran, while Iranian workers lived in shanty towns without running water. Think about that. The same empire that people think of as a quaint historical artifact was literally powered by Iranian oil, and the Iranians got almost nothing. So when Iranian nationalists finally rose up and elected Mohammad Mossadegh as prime minister in 1951, a man who nationalized the oil company for his own people, what happened? The British and the CIA overthrew him in 1953. Operation Ajax, they called it. They installed the Shah as their puppet. And who did they use on the ground to create the chaos for the coup? The Muslim Brotherhood, the same organization Trump designated as terrorists just weeks ago. Mark Curtis documents how the British and the CIA paid the Ayatollah Khamenei, who was Khamenei's own mentor, for street violence during the uprising. Now here's where it gets really interesting. When the Shah outlived his usefulness, what happened? The British and Americans acquiesced to Khomeiни's revolution in 1979. One puppet replaced another. The Muslim Brotherhood's ideology became the scaffold for Khomeiни's theocratic state, its belief system, and the backward system of constant war between Israel, the Arab states, and Iran has been profitable for the City of London each time it has happened. The City of London sets global oil prices. It ensures virtually all oil shipments. It banks the sovereign wealth of its former Middle East colonies. And as we've documented extensively, it functions as the premier money laundromat for the drug, weapons, and trafficking mafias that thrive on regional chaos. That is the system. The mullahs are not an independent power. They are the current franchise holders of a British financial operation that has controlled Iran for 118 years. And the wars between Israel and the Arab states, between Sunni and Shia, between all the parties in the Middle East, these are managed conflicts designed to keep the region unstable so the financial architecture stays in place. So here's the question no one in the media is asking. Why now? Not just because of the nuclear program, not just because of the missiles. The real answer is that Donald Trump has spent the last year systematically dismantling the British financial architecture in the Middle East, and the mullahs were the last obstacle. Look at what he's already done. Since Trump assumed office the second time, he secured over $2 trillion in Gulf sovereign wealth fund investments, money that used to sit in City of London banks. It's now committed to American manufacturing, energy, and AI infrastructure. He organized the Arab world and Israel into his board of peace, ending the carnage in Gaza and beginning to rebuild it. The president of Kazakhstan captured it perfectly when he called Trump's strategy peace through construction. Peace, in other words, through economic development.
The board of peace is widely expected to respond directly to new realities by reinforcing existing multilateral efforts. The world has never seen a move like this. It is absolutely unprecedented because, in essence, peace through construction is a very innovative concept or project.
Trump designated the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization, cutting off the infrastructure the British have used to manipulate the region for nearly a century. He brought Egypt's el-Sisi, the man who actually defeated the Brotherhood, to the table as a central partner. He's working with Turkey and Qatar, countries that Netanyahu doesn't want involved, because this isn't Netanyahu's plan, it's Trump's plan. And think about what Scott Bessent, our Treasury Secretary, said earlier in January, that 50% of his job involves national security. That's because the real war isn't kinetic, it's financial. It's about breaking the City of London's control over the flow of money in the Middle East. The only thing standing in the way of this entire new architecture was the Iranian regime, still pursuing a nuclear weapon, still pledging to destroy both Israel and the United States, still developing the ballistic missile capability to accomplish that, and still funding proxies from Lebanon to Yemen to make war. You cannot build a board of peace while the mullahs are arming for war. You cannot redirect $2 trillion in Gulf investment while Iran threatens to close the Strait of Hormuz. You cannot rebuild Gaza while Iranian proxies are rearming. That's why this happened, not because Trump is a warmonger, because the mullahs were the last piece on the British chessboard, and they refused to leave it voluntarily. They rejected every deal. And as Trump put it in his address this morning,
we sought repeatedly to make a deal. We tried. They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to practice evil. But Iran refused, just as it has for decades and decades. They've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions, and we can't take it anymore.
So here's the bottom line. We are at the earliest stages of this conflict, and the situation is rapidly evolving. Iran has already launched retaliatory strikes against the Gulf, targeting U.S. assets in Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, and the UAE. This is serious and it's dangerous. But I will tell you what I know about watching 50 years of these wars. This is not Iraq. Trump is not dismantling the state to install new puppets. He is removing the final obstacle to a peace architecture he has been building for over a year. And Vice President Vance, a Marine veteran and the most vocal opponent of the forever wars in the administration, has told us there is no chance this becomes one. The Democrats and their friends in London will try to play this in the midterms. They'll scream regime change. They'll invoke Iraq. They'll call Trump a madman. And they will never, ever tell you about the 118 years of British financial control over Iran that made this moment inevitable. Now, we firmly believe that we can defend the president's action as just, and that grave and serious intelligence, much of it presently classified, supports his action. But all of us know exactly how the Democrat lunatics and their friends in London will try to play this, and we plan here not to let them have their game. That's what we're here for. Promethean Action will be covering this as it evolves, so subscribe to our free newsletter. The link is in the description. Become a paying member or a contributor, because we need to build this fight right now for 2026. There's no better way to celebrate the 250th anniversary of our independence than by finishing off the British Empire once and for all. This has been your Saturday Wrap.
Took a thriving, very advanced country, very wealthy country, and just killed it overnight almost. Literally and figuratively killed it. And we have what we have. So as a Marine, obviously, Beirut's a big thing. History is a big thing in Marine Corps, and that was horrendous. That was from Iran, a bunch of other attacks, funding, things like that. The history of Iran, late Charlie Kirk, says it well here.
What do you actually know about Iran? Persia was a great power, and then Iran took a turn for the worst. Interestingly enough, there was the Shah of Iran, and then the Shah was displaced by Mossadegh. Mossadegh was democratically elected. Now, to be very fair, the United States and Britain got rid of Mossadegh, and then we reinstalled the Shah. Bad decision, which then led to the Iranian Revolution, where radical Islam took over Iran. Look at some of these pictures of what Iran used to be. It was wealthy, it was proud, it was strong. The Persians are wonderful people. Some of my closest friends are Persians, and I love the Persian people. And we should have a heart for the Persian people to try and have a better future. Regime change is very difficult to talk about. I actually don't like talking about regime change. It's very complicated, but understand that there can be brighter days ahead for the Iranian people. And just look at some of these pictures of how beautiful Iran used to be, how beautiful Tehran used to be. And it's very easy to kind of sit in your Western armchair and be like, oh, Israel's terrible. Well, you were able to enjoy free speech rights and a lot of rights here in the West that Iran used to have. And if you are serious about actually protecting human rights, you should want to make Iran Western again.
The issue I have is I'm skeptic. I think anybody that's seen combat, been into combat, lost brothers, sisters, is extremely hesitant with any military action, especially long-term with boots on the ground. And I don't think we're going to be boots on the ground. Wouldn't surprise me if we helped them or guided them or whatever the hell they call it anymore. But look at Iraq, Afghanistan. It's worse now than before. And why did I lose brothers I served with? Well, you know, the turmoil, the demons they came back with. I lost more guys to suicide. I don't want that for the next generation. I have 5 kids. I have a 13-year-old boy. You know, I love the Marine Corps. Proud of the service and the heroes I served with, and myself, who's not a hero, I served with them, sacrificed. It was a great experience. I mean, it's made the person, the man I am now. Wouldn't trade it for anything. But at the same time, I'm not stupid. I'm self-aware of the situation of where, you know, going to Iraq and seeing all these contractors, all the AC hooches, the amount of food. I mean, the cush lifestyle in al-Assad, going to Afghanistan and holding security for corporate, you know, representatives. 3-letter agencies, talking to warlords, allowing them to grow poppy fields. Even though we were locking down the poppy industry, supposedly, which was BS. So you played ball with us, grow your poppy. You support Taliban, we burned your fields. It's all a game. We took the intel officers with black bags of cash, just like the movies, paid off the warlords, guys that were supporting Taliban. And that's just scratching the surface. So Iran, just like Eisenhower talked about the, you know, war machine, war profiteering, it's going strong. They always find a way. Interesting things. Kiev Post reported this morning that Putin has agreed to accept U.S. security guarantees for Ukraine. Zelensky's office chief Bodanov added that the Russian army is not preparing to advance on Kiev at this time. He also expressed confidence in the prospects of peace talks, noting that the issue of demilitarized zones has already been resolved. 24 hours after we take out Iran, obviously Russia's supported, helped fund Iran as well with arms and drones and all kinds of other things that Putin, Kiev makes a statement about Putin, that Putin's ready to come to the table. He's ready for peace. What we've done in Venezuela, what we did in just again in Iran, I mean, it sort of reminds everybody, Americans, but most importantly, these are enemies. I mean, Europe's not our friend. I mean, they're allies, but they're allowing the doors to be open to these third world enemies of theirs, completely changing the culture. China's not our friend, obviously. You know, India is like, Russia. I mean, what are we doing here? So, issue again with this strike and the 2 military operations in the last few months is set the tone that we are still the United States. We could take out anybody, do whatever the hell we want, unscathed. There was ABC reports. It's painful, and one of the reasons why I waited for a little bit, because I wanted to see the dust, clear, which, yes, good choice of words. But ABC reported immediately that there was a strike in Qatar. Nothing happened. No casualties, at least. Still no U.S. casualties, even though bases were hit. Iran did a strike on Israel, but no U.S. casualties whatsoever. Same with when we went into Venezuela. Took out the president and first lady, just took them on a helicopter ride to the States. So no boots on the ground. I'm happy about that. Starmer in the UK is an idiot and continues to just be a cuckold for the world. I feel bad for the UK. I'm still waiting for them to just be like, enough. But Starmer made a statement here. So this basically whore of Islam went and just said we had nothing to do with our Iranian strike. What happened to good and evil? Iranian people, I would assume hundreds, if not maybe million people have died in the last 4 or 5 decades under the Ayatollah, the supreme leader's control. I mean, these are bad people. And Starmer comes out with his knee pads and gets down and starts saying we had nothing to do with this. Just like he said when Venezuela went, we had no communication from Trump or the U.S. government or the military saying that we're going to coordinate or knew anything about it until it happened, and then we were notified. Well, you're a punk. UK is irrelevant. They've made themselves irrelevant. So as we're liberating people, I'm praying that nothing happens. Boots on the ground, I mean. But put the smack down. I mean, it's good for them. I mean, again, just watch the Iranian people celebrate. So ramifications from this strike, again, turmoil in Iran, Persia, because everybody's going to try to fill the vacuum, especially a country like that. You're going to have China, Russia assets, U.S., European, Israeli trying to get their people in, whoever they're backing. Oil prices, that's going to be all over the place because of this and oil production and instability in the markets. Will probably take a dip, maybe. I don't know. I'm not giving financial advice, but instability around the world at this point, and everybody's probably like wondering what's going to happen. But I'm just tired of it. Tired of the war. Tired of fighting. I mean, Netanyahu's been pushing to attack Iran and take out the leaders since the 90s that I saw, at least when he was coming to Congress talking about it. Nuclear bombs, nuclear everything. The funding of it, it disgusts me. Obama basically first class crates, pallets of US dollars to Iran. I still don't understand that. I mean, I do, but at the same time, they said, well, it's not ours. It was, frozen because of the terrorists, they're a terrorist country. But why? Why not give it to Marines, the families of Marines that died at Beirut? Give it to Iranian families that, lost loved ones that, fled to U.S. I don't know. I just, you look back to the Obama administration, even the Biden administration, and who they funded or allowed funds to play nice or whatever. The Iranian nuclear deal, it was a complete joke. Everybody knew it. And I'm sorry, just from my experience, I know I'm biased and jaded, but these people, it's been talked about. I know people are like, oh, that's racist or whatever. No, it's fact. They inbreed, poor diet, low IQ. I think it's like 80s is the average IQ in the Middle East because of those factors. And they're very basic, animalistic, like tribal, obviously, cultures that only understand the person at the top, the strongest person, the most violent person. And that's normally who leads them. Who can be the most violent, the most machismo, the most manly. And that's who they lead or have lead. And in response to that, the only thing they can understand is force. And sometimes it just takes deadly force. It's the only thing they can handle. There was a representative from Iran that was at the UN talking about warning the U.S. shortly, a few months ago, maybe last year, saying, think about this, be smart. Like, basically, don't mess with us or we're going to retaliate. They're extremely arrogant. They want you to respect their culture in their country when they come here, take advantage of the situation, like Somalians in Minnesota, respect our culture. No, screw you, you're in our country. And I think a lot of veterans are very upset because of what they personally have gone through and are going through with PTSD or whatever, the divorces and, the split families, issues with money, health, mental, spiritual, physical, losing brothers in combat and also suicide, like I mentioned. They're pissed. It's like, why the hell, like when we went overseas, we were not doing that so they can come over to the U.S. and jack up our country, rip us off. So, like I said, something needs to change. I'm hoping for stability now. Hope for the best, playing for the worst. But again, it's going to be interesting to see who takes over Iran. Write in the comments if you haven't already. Like and subscribe. I appreciate it. Views are pumping up on my new channel. Sharing, liking, subscribing, commenting all helps. I appreciate it. Write in the comments what you think. Love to know. I want to start engaging more with the comment section and gain more comments from my viewers on what you think. Because I'm far from an expert. I'll never say I'm an expert in anything. I know enough to be dangerous in a lot of different areas, but not an expert. So I'd love to have a discussion with you. Think what think about things, what's going through my head, topical conversations, get your comments, answer them, and just have fun. Stay safe. Hopefully everyone's having a great weekend, and till next time, Semper Fi.